about to hustle. There ain't no time for sleep. Just keep on moving. Do what you're doing. You always play for keeps. Ain't backing down, no, we're going big. Ain't stopping now, we get after it. Get after it. Get after it. Light that fire. Get after it. Light that fire. For my survival, take down my rival. No, I ain't gonna stop. If I am beaten, I'm not defeated. I fight back to the top. Ain't backing down, no, we're going big. Ain't stopping now, we get after it. Get after it. Get after it. Light that fire. Get after it. Light that fire. Put it all out on the line. Give it to roll every time. Put it all out on the line. Give it to roll every time. Get after it. Get after it. Light that fire. Get after it. Light that fire.
Yeah, duel in the mist. 1300 on the batter, but it really don't matter cause A got the cooling kit. Look at this foolish kid. If I hit him with the ult, then the body gon' split. Pop out the ground like Ike is missed, and I'm rocking with a team that probably don't mix. But look at that damage hit. Straight off the top, I'm playing this shit. Stay locked in so you know I won't miss. I skip could call me cause I know she can't crit. That's a badass kid. Clear in trouble like a badass kid. But I'm talking about Inazuma. Hey boy, you ain't hear the rumors. Nah, I don't look at least. Feel bad for Ethan cause I know he can't speak. I'm at the top like Chin Hyun Peak, and we hunting for boy cause I need more meat. Like where is the beef? I'm venting. Who venting? Yeah, the animal boy that's venting. If you run up on me when I got energy, I pop my altar's empty. Yeah, let's take it back to Mondstadt where it all began. Where I fought for freedom. If you don't need them, then we just cross the land. Way before demons leave with Inazuma and fallen friends. Back when Amber was all we had. Yeah, now I lay low, so I'm living a life. When I walk up in the bar, I be sipping the wine. And you know I love the city cause the city is mine. Me and the violent soul brothers cause we been through a lot. Don't take mine, we go out for a night. And I swear I'm a sword that you won't survive. Oh yeah, I love the city cause I'm feeling the vibe. Got a couple troops trying to go live. Who we got? Then we got D, Luke, and Eula from the Knights. Hey, Rosaria loves the night. And Jean, she runs the nights. Then we got Kaya. Yeah. He stay reminiscing about Kyria. They try to take me out, but I'm a warrior. Yo, this tormentor boy. Let's take it back to Mondstadt where it all began. Back when we had Danes, leave fellas, humans and gods cannot be friends. Back when we had the main ether, starter team was all we had. Back when we had artifacts with garbage stats, all flat. Yeah, applying that wet status, you know that I'm best at it. Maybe do a vaporize or the hard rock crystallize. Yeah, if I drop cuz for E, I dip in the sky. You know everything gon' die as one would win the climb. Applying that wet status, you know that I'm best at it. Maybe do a vaporize or the hard rock crystallize. Yeah, if I drop riding so that's a lightning bolt. Or you and me as fire dance a summer soul. I gotta pay my mortgage, but I'm a whale, I need more shit. Don't quit, I never forfeit. Blue shot bangs like Ika's forehead. Behold, you'll drop more gems. Let the bars up in his pen. Don't start if you know you won't win. Arataki turning out straight men. Yeah, but I'm still a white food metal boy. Gotta feel the high when you get them coins. Know I'm farming talents for 'em. Get 'em, get 'em, get 'em. I'm a Bennett and Ajax. Everybody stand back. Don't let your guard down, cause I work with the crew. I'm dropping the flu. Yo, this tormentor boy. Yeah, should I keep going? I'm reloading.
Ayato.
And we are back. What's up, everybody? Hold up. Valk!
Yo, yo.
We live.
We live indeed.
Yes, we are. Man, feels good to be back. And we finally named this thing. So here we are, back with the Teyvat Hangout podcast. I know that peeps wanted this back, so glad to bring it back, even though we're gonna be starting with a smaller viewer base than normal, but that's no problem. We'll get it back up there over time. The fact is, I just enjoy these because they're fun. So, you know, as usual, I got my buddy Valk here with me if he wants to introduce himself again for the one time.
Yo, I'm Valk. I make terrible Genshin videos. Sups up.
Yep. And yeah, so we here. And we're going to do this every Saturday if possible. That's what we tried to do last time. So yeah, we're gonna see if that's okay with you, Valk.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so I guess the first things first, what is the topics today? Well, first thing I want to do is talk about patch 2.5, because I hardly got to even cover that since I just started back up. And honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm not like, it's not my favorite thing, but it's not the worst thing either. What about you, Val?
For me, Raiden Shogun Story Quest sold the patch. It was basically like, so far the patch has been pretty dead, but Raiden Story Quest was amazing. If they continue to do stuff like that quest, then basically the one thing I really enjoy about the game, the story, is just going to keep me excited.
Yeah, I will definitely say the Raiden Shogun Story Quest is actually, she really needed it actually, because this is the development she needed since the beginning. Like the first story quest was okay, but it was like, it wasn't even really much insight into the Raiden Shogun. It was more like how she handles things in Inazuma. But now we actually got to learn something about her. But you know, I don't want to sit here and spoil it for the people who haven't done it yet. I haven't even done the Yae Miko one, and I heard that one's okay. So that's what I've been hearing. But one thing I really want to talk about is the new event. What is it? The 3 Gateways event that's happening right now. I actually really like how they set it up. That event, the fact that you can do it the whole patch and it's not limited to a specific time frame, in my opinion, is probably something they should adopt for future content.
Yeah, I like it like that. I mean, I wish they would have just like had another event running alongside it though, because right now it feels like nothing's really in the game. Even though there is an event running, it really doesn't feel like it. It's been like that for past like week and a half now. That's why Genshin's pretty much not much is going on. But my theory is that they released an event like that, knowing that everyone was going to be playing, you know, the games that come out in February, because February is such a hype month for video games for a long time, first time in a very long time. I feel like they kind of foresaw that and were like, let's just kind of throw this out here.
True. And I mean, it's honestly the best move because, like we've discussed before, this game is for a casual player base. And these players, sometimes, you know, they're active like at short bursts, so they're not able to be active during the specific event window during that whole patch, you know? So I feel like this is something that's just way better for the player base as a whole, especially if the main event, you know, the thing that you will get the most rewards from, you can actually do at your own pace and at your own time. So it doesn't make it like oh, I need to get this done now before it disappears. It's like, if you don't get it done, you were just never gonna do it. Let's just be real.
Yeah, that's basically how it is right now. You have like 30 days or something to get it done.
Yeah.
So
that's for sure. So I think another topic that we need to get into for sure, oh, my bad, is the Yae Miko conundrum that everybody's facing right now. Some people love her, some people hate her, some people want her reworked, some people just want her streamlined. It's crazy. Like, she had so much hype, but now everybody's like in a state of limbo regarding how they feel about Yae Miko. It's crazy to me. And you know, like coming back into content creation during this time, I'm sitting here like, do I even want to talk about this? Like, this is just a mess.
yeah, it's basically it's so bad. People want her to get completely reworked because they don't really like her kit. They find her kit kind of clunky. I actually really enjoy her kit. I find it fun because I use her, the way I use her skills is I do like a skill and a dash right away. So I use like an extended dash. So it gives me more room to get out of the way of things. And I think people are kind of upset it doesn't iframe, which to me isn't really an issue because you should be using it more as a distance making tool or setting up for damage rather than, you know, trying to iframe with it, because it's not a dash. That's what you have your dash for.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I don't dislike Yae Miko. Now, she was hyped up to levels that were insane. I will say that. And she did fall short of quite a few people's expectations. But in my opinion, she's actually a pretty okay character. I don't think that she is all that bad. I think the main issue right now is that her kit is not streamlined. And that's where I feel like she really suffers. Like having to do 3 skills, her burst, and then having to recast those same 3 skills is like, I feel like you could have, you know, streamlined that a bit, especially when you have a character like Kokomi that exists. You could have literally stole what she does for her skill with her burst and just did that for Yae Miko. Boom. We don't have to do those 3 extra casts. And also, her turret AI is abysmal. I will say that. That thing is horrible.
The first targetable thing rather than looking for enemies to target, which is really weird.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times like stand next to an explosive barrel and then it just all of a sudden decides to strike it. I'm just looking at the turrets like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, so I think that's something that
getting revenge.
Oh, apparently I don't even know what I did though. But yeah, it definitely, in my opinion, if they fix those 2 things, Yae Miko becomes a much better experience. Now, do I think that's going to make her like the greatest character of all time? No, but at least she'll be a way more enjoyable. That's what I think, at least. What's your opinion on that?
For me, like I said, I kind of enjoy her kit the way it is. Maybe I just use her differently than other people, but I kind of enjoy the way her kit already is set. It's because I kind of use her in tandem with Raiden Shogun, and that to me, like Raiden Shogun plus her and Kazuha is kind of a complete team. And I've been using her whenever I do play, since she came out, and I enjoy it. I don't know. Like I said,
that's fair.
I kind of have a different view on it than other people.
No, that's fair, man. But yeah, that's just me personally. I feel like it's not really that they need to buff her numbers or change her kit crazy. Keep the core of her kit, just streamline it a bit. That's me. But you know, for each their own. But
if I was to buff anything, it would get rid of the. I normally cancel it with dash, like I was saying earlier, but get rid of the input buffer outside, like right after she casts a skill, to make it more like Xiao's. You know how Xiao can immediately E like right away? Well, that's if you SC1. But you know how you can E then immediately E again, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand why Yae Miko can.
That's true. Her casts do take a second.
That's also why I use dash to cancel it, but if you could just E really, really quickly, you wouldn't need to do that.
That's true. I do agree with that, 100%. Have you been hearing the rumor going around about the Shimenawas apparently being her original set, and the thing with Yoimiya as well for the, what was it, Retracing Bolide?
I heard some really crackpot stuff out of that, and I just stopped listening to it. Like, it was, what was it? It was something crazy, where it was like, damn, I can't remember exactly what it is.
Basically, what they were saying, from what I heard, is that the Shimenawa's Reminiscence was actually meant to be Yae Miko's original set. Basically, her kit was supposed to be different from what it is now, but basically her kit got scrapped. Oh yeah, so yeah,
I remember seeing it, and there was the Chinese video you're talking about at the same time. They said that their team dealt more damage with 3 people than Yae Miko on the team. I was like,
no, it was I think it was like a team that used the Yae Miko, but when they took off one of the 4th members, the team functioned way better because the rotation was faster.
Then why don't you just do 1 turret or less turrets? Like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense how you remove somebody and then you deal more damage. That makes 0 fucking sense, no matter what. They're doing something weird there. There's shenanigans about.
Shenanigans about. It's something. But basically, the main thing I want to talk about was that theory side of it, because the Retracing Bolide, I keep saying Reminiscence. Retracing Bolide was apparently supposed to be Yoimiya's. And honestly, I could see it. The style and the color scheme is literally the same as Yoimiya's. Not to mention, Yoimiya is super squishy. So having something that would, you know, provide increased shield strength while promoting a shielder with her, and then also give her increased normal attack, charge attack, and plunge damage, doesn't sound like it would be a bad set for her. And I mean, it is one of her alternate go-to sets, you know?
Yeah.
So I could definitely see it. And they were saying that apparently Yae Miko, her original design got scrapped. And when you think about it, like, Yae Miko has very intricate normal and charge attacks. Like, very intricate. But the thing is that they don't do anything right now. Their damage is abysmal. They were saying that originally she was planned to be a normal and charge attacker, and she had much better scaling, but they decided to change that up in order to make her the skill user that she is now. Now,
I mean, I
don't-
can debunk that pretty easily by bringing up Albedo's normals and charge attack. He actually has an entirely unique style because it's fencing.
yeah,
And they brought fencing into Genshin for a character that you will literally never see it.
true.
So it sounds kind of on par or par for the course from a Hoyo to actually add stuff in like that. And you'll just never see it because that's just how the character's designed. So
True. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll never really know unless Mihoyo comes out and says something anyway.
they won't.
Yeah. But I do find it interesting how the community tries to jump through to some conclusions in order
There's
to.
mental gymnastics all over the place with the community.
Well, I mean, the main thing is that they're just trying to make it make sense. Because they're like, why did this character come out like this? But, you know, at the end of the day, Yae Miko's for those people who enjoy her. And then maybe later, if she ends up getting her own artifact set that actually buffs skill damage, she will be in a much better light. I think that's the main thing she needs. But anyway, moving on. So, let's talk about the banners for this patch. This is actually really interesting because I get a lot of people that come to me. They're like, "Final, should I roll for Yae Miko or Raiden Shogun?" Now, obviously, I just tell them Raiden Shogun, but I do actually find this this patch banners to actually be pretty stacked for, especially for people who are just looking for waifus. You know, like obviously, Raiden Shogun is the top of the pack. You know, if you want waifu meta all in one package, that is like the go-to. But then you still have like Yae Miko, who a lot of people have been feeding for. Even though it seems her banner isn't doing as well as I expected, it's still doing pretty good, but it's not doing like insane. And then we have the rerun of Kokomi, which a lot of people, you know, weren't about, but now the community seems to have a different opinion on her, so I expect her to do half decent for this banner, for sure.
I just want her to do a little bit better. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, she's gonna do... I mean, the banner's gonna do well no matter what, because she's technically tied to Raiden, so... it doesn't matter if her sales are horrible.
We're not gonna see her
we're not gonna see her extra sales. We'll only know they're together.
True.
Yeah, so that's something we'll just see. But I imagine the sales are gonna be pretty good. A lot of people have been fiending to get some Raiden cons or even get Raiden because they didn't get her the first time. So it's going...
A lot of people are getting C2.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are going for C2. Some people C3. Dude, some people might even be going for C6. Wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be very interesting.
I don't know about no C6 now. That went a little different. That's more like...
You'll be surprised, man. Some of these people out here... I was surprised when I had some of my free-to-play friends out here getting C2, C3 Raiden. I'm like, how'd you get that? They're like, all those primos I've been playing. I'm like, dang.
C6 is good with Yae Miko. It's actually showing a lot of value with Yae Miko, which is why I think they're going to start designing more units like that.
Mm.
But at the same time, her C6 is incredibly niche.
That's true.
Because if you can afford to C6 a character, odds are you have multiple characters C6. And at that point, you don't really make it a second rotation. Stuff's already dead by then.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be quite interesting seeing how the peeps respond. I think part of the reason also Yae's banner isn't doing so hot as we expected is because the Raiden Shogun is right after her. I mean, there are even people who are skipping Yae. Yeah. There are people who are even skipping Yae because of Kokomi too. Like I've actually talked to a few people that, yeah, I'm gonna skip Yae, I just want Kokomi. Because they already got Raiden the first, batch. So Yae is not in the best light for right now. But I imagine she'll probably do much better if before the time of her rerun, a artifact set probably comes out that helps her with skill damage. I think that will truly help her and get people kind of on board of her, set. On board of actually joining the Yae train, I guess, so to speak. But yeah.
Yeah, right now, she's okay. Like I said before, she's okay. She's good, not great, is the way I've always described her.
Mm-hmm.
But if they really want to make her strong, it has to be a couple things. A lot of people have it confused where her ult, or not her ult, her skill is her end all be all, right? But the thing is that her ult deals insane amounts of damage as well, to where people should really take a look at that and look at her ult and see if you want to build around it. Because, like I said, I've been using her as an ult bot where I just pop the 3 things down, Kazuha swirl, and then ult, and I do 130, 140k ults. And it's just, to me, that's crazy. But I guess other people have expectations.
Yeah. I mean, typically whenever I run Yae Miko, I do Raiden Shogun, Kazuha, her, and then Bennett. But the thing is that we have to also remember, not everybody has Raiden Shogun, Kazuha, and Yae Miko. You know, it's like, that's 3 5-stars. For free-to-plays, it's not the easiest thing to get all 3 together just to put her in her ideal functioning team. Now, obviously, you can use other characters like Sucrose, and I've actually been trying to preach the word of Sucrose on my server for Yae Miko, because Sucrose can actually buff Yae's EM while she's off field. So she actually gains that damage while she's off field for her turrets, which is actually really, really good. And she can also buff the elemental damage if you happen to have C6. So it's like, you know, Kazuha, but you don't have to worry about Yae being on field to get the buffs, which is awesome. I mean, Kazuha can obviously buff the Electro, but it's really nice that Sucrose can kind of do the Electro, and she can do the EM while Yae's not there. So that's really, really great. But the thing is that I feel like if you want to play Yae, you have to play Raiden. While you can use like Fischl to substitute for Raiden, it's not the same. It's just not. I will say that those two characters operate so differently when it comes to dealing with Yae Miko and making her, in my opinion, operate at her highest ability. But I will say this, Yae is hungry for that other Electro partner. That's for sure. She's not like a super self-sufficient character like the Raiden Shogun is, by any means.
No, she really wants to be ran with Raiden Shogun. That's incredibly obvious the more you play her.
That's true.
She functions insanely well with Raiden Shogun because the combination of the skill damage that happens off the field between the two of them is really, really nice. But yeah, she really, really wants to be ran with Raiden. Like,
yeah, no questions asked. No questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something I always tell people too, like, because they always ask me, okay, Raiden or Yae Miko? I tell them this, Raiden doesn't need Yae, but Yae needs Raiden. That's what I tell them, straight up. So if you're gonna go for one, you have to get Raiden before you get Yae anyway. Or I guess you can get Yae before you get Raiden if you have enough roles in this situation. But you know, when you have to actually pick one, pick Raiden, that's for sure. But I think Yae is gonna be okay. I don't think she'll, you know, get dumpstered on too much. I think she's just one of those characters we'll have to wait so that we could see her true purpose later on.
She has her weapon, which is really good for her. She has everything but a
designated artifact set. Yeah, that's what she needs.
And so far, every character gets one. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. If they do it, it's going to be very niche, but it actually wouldn't be that niche thinking about it, because Fischl would be able to use it, Raiden would be able to use it.
Oh yeah, if it's an elemental damage bonus set, because we already have Noblesse, which does elemental burst. So all we need is an elemental skill. That's it. If we get an elemental skill set, so many characters can use that. Like, so many. It's ridiculous. So it's gonna be, if they do it right, that is. Because I imagine the 2-piece is gonna be pretty universal if it's anything like Noblesse. The 4-piece though, you know, they get interesting on some of those. So those aren't usually plug and play. But as long as the 2-piece is like elemental skill damage up this percentage, that's going to be great for so many characters. It's not even a joke. So I think it's just going to come down to waiting for Yae Miko. But that's my piece of advice when it comes to this patch. If you haven't rolled yet and you're wondering who to roll for, Raiden Shogun, in my opinion, is definitely a go-to no matter what. Kokomi is nice for the current content, The question is, I don't know how long she's gonna keep staying the meta for a lot of this content, so we'll see.
My biggest issue with Kokomi being quote-unquote meta at the moment is the fact that her main thing she does is make things wet. I know there's role compression, the fact that she becomes a healer and an enabler at the exact same time and stuff like that, but in the end, the main thing she does is she applies Hydro.
Yep.
Very, very well at that. And she does in a giant AoE. But the thing is what happens whenever they release a character who also applies Hydro really well in a big AoE, but then they're actually a really good character on top of it. Then that's why I can't ever recommend people pull for Kokomi if they care about that stuff. If you just want, the only thing you want is my waifu, then ignore what I'm saying. But if you want strong, then I can never recommend it.
Well, I mean, yeah, while she can make stuff wet, but that's part of the beauty of her role consolidation, is that she can also heal. Not to mention, she can actually operate as a driver if you need her to on a team. And not to mention, she can just eat attacks for days. Like, she's like the second coming of Zhongli without the shield. It's ridiculous. I mean, I feel like her real value is just that she can play so many roles at once. But the main thing that she does right now, yes, is make things wet. But I think that's good enough right now, especially since, like, if you do get somebody else that can do that, she can still serve you other roles in other teams. So it just comes down to what you really want. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't feel like Kokomi's for everybody. And I've made this clear in the past too. But if you do want Kokomi, she's not a bad pickup. No matter...
There are no bad characters. None against her.
Yeah.
Like, there's no character that's just straight up unusable. Every character has a purpose and use.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people every day. Like, sure, a character might look bad now. Give them a month or two. They'll look better. That's all it takes. Like,
if you want a character, you just gotta use them.
Yeah, you just gotta get them and use them. But, you know, for the people who are out there free to play and have limited amount of gems, you know, be careful with what you pick, especially if you care about meta. But anyway, let's move on. Got some other stuff to talk about. Ah, yes. A boy. Kamisato Ayato. Yes, he was revealed. And he has been... Man was going ham. I remember on Twitter, before he was even released, people were making him trending like multiple days. It's crazy. Like, this guy is insane. And we don't even... Well... I don't want to talk about what he does. We're not here to talk about what he does. That's for when he's officially announced. But I will say this. There's a lot of stuff that was going on, especially on his initial release. Do you remember where people were complaining about his design?
Yes.
Yes, that was...
And I thought it was kind of ridiculous because it's like, why do you just not... I mean, people have their rights to their opinion, right? If somebody just doesn't like his design, you're more than welcome to say it. But there were so many people that are like, they need to go back, draw him. And I'm like, why? Just because you don't like something doesn't mean, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nah, like, the thing is that, first, like, one of these, there's one content creator I watched. I think his name is, like, Big Smack Daddy. I don't remember exactly. It's something along those lines. But he is a Genshin content creator, right? And he was talking about, like, he doesn't mind Ayato's design, but he felt like it was missing part of that darkness. And when Ayato has been explained to us throughout the game, it's been like, oh yeah, you know, he's like the leader, he's disciplined, he's this and that, but he also has like this dark side to him that he's willing to do stuff to get stuff done, you know? And then he mentioned somebody like Byakuya Kikuchi, I think that's his name, from Bleach, you know, Rukia's older brother. Yeah, that guy. And he said, like, he was hoping Ayato comes out looking like that. As soon as he said that, I was like, I wouldn't even be against that. Like, I love that dude. That dude's a beast, you know? So
the issue with that is that Ayato the entire time has been described as a politician, right?
Yeah.
To me, he looks exactly like one. Like, I don't
know. He does. He really does.
He has like that fucking half sleaze smile. Like, you know, he can pull some shit on some people.
Man, he looks like a typical bureaucrat, man.
Yeah, like, to me, he looks like a politician.
For sure.
Very nice clothes. So once I learned the politician stuff, to me his design made sense. But like I said, I'm not everybody.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the thing that people sometimes forget, is that there's a difference between looks and personality. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't have looks that portray personality, but you don't always have to, you don't always have to show off their personality in their looks. There are some people who want to look like an upstanding, prideful leader of his clan citizen, but when he's back at home, he's doing some shady ass stuff or battling Beatles with Ito. You know what I mean? So I don't think that they should get too hung up on connecting his personality to his looks. Because as long as his personality is shown in the game through the story, that's all we really want. You know what I mean? But that's how I feel. And there was another topic actually regarding Ayato and his whole outfit. Apparently, there was a whole debacle about him potentially being gay. And I was sitting there like, why does this matter?
I mean, all the characters in Genshin remain sexually ambiguous on purpose because
Exactly.
because of Chinese laws, there's no way they could actually add a gay character into Genshin. Just the way it is, the way of the world.
Yeah.
So what MiHoYo does is a nice little compromise for everybody is they make everything ambiguous. No characters have any sexual connotations, so you can make them whatever the hell you want.
That's true. And there's nothing wrong with headcanons.
Let him be gay.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
It's your world, make it what you want.
That's the thing. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with shipping headcanons. Do what you want. The problem is sometimes it gets out of hand in the Genshin community, man.
Oh yeah, people they're getting ready to box over this shit.
Exactly. It's like, yo, if you want to ship Ayato and Toma, hey, do you. If you want to ship Ayato and Raiden Shogun over there, do you. I'm down with it. You know what I mean? But the problem is, all of a sudden, the dude that was shipping Ayato and Toma isn't happy about the dude shipping Ayato and Raiden Shogun. So then they come over there and they start beefing. I'm like, why are we beefing? Nobody's right or wrong.
Exactly.
That's something I never understood. It's like, can't we just all enjoy a character for just being a character? And if you want to have your headcanon or you want to have your ship, do you. As long as you ain't hurting nobody and forcing your ideals on anybody else, we all having a good time. But we're going to talk more about the community in a bit, so we'll get there. That's something I wanted to say for later. All right, moving on. Oh, actually, I have nothing else planned. Yeah, this is actually perfect. So we can talk about it. So this is something I did want to talk about, but I didn't make a slide for, right? The Genshin Impact community. So as you guys know, I've been gone for like I think 4 or 5 months now, right?
Wow.
So I haven't been here for a minute, but a lot of drama, has been happening.
Well, you missed the biggest one, yeah.
Yeah, dude, wasn't there? Dude, there was a lot of drama. Toronto, Dish. There was obviously there's always Tectone drama. Yeah, it got out of hand, and like I know there was even like some drama between Tectone and an Asian guy, but that's their business, so we're not gonna talk about it. But it's crazy, like how sometimes the community gets out of hand. But at the same time, it was crazy to me that like some of the content creators were ready to bite everybody's community members, like some of these community members' heads off. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not everyone, you know? Like we can't forget that not everybody in the community is causing trouble. It's just like these handful of people. But they make the rest of us just look bad because of like how vocal they are and everything, you know?
Yeah.
And this is part of what leads Genshin Impact, like the player base, to having such a bad reputation even outside of Genshin. It's ridiculous. And I never really understood how the community got so bad. I never really understood it.
It's kind of a culmination of a couple things. One, the Genshin Impact community is a lot younger. Even the content creators, most of them are younger. So a lot of them are still, you know, very susceptible to drama and stuff like that. To where it's... I've seen a lot of beefs over the dumbest shit. where people just care a little bit too much about stuff that really does not matter. So it's mostly just like a generation. To me, it's a generational thing, to where like people are still very young. Like I said,
Yeah.
a lot of content creators still are very young.
Yeah.
And it's just something that will get better with time, but it's going to take time.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of the problem community is very, very outspoken.
Oh, that's true.
And
Good
Twitter.
question.
Everyone hates Twitter.
You see, that's the thing. I feel like Genshin Twitter gets such a bad rep, but the thing is that Genshin Twitter is not actually all that bad. It's just that all we see is the horrible parts of it. Like, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, especially in the Genshin sections, and I'm on Twitter mostly for the art, you know? And I sit there looking through all these awesome like Genshin Twitter artists. Like every day I'm getting like 10 or 20 different like, you know, pieces of art from all these artists I follow, and I'm just like enjoying the good times, and everybody, and they're just telling funny stories in their comics, or like beautiful pictures, or, you know, some sad moments that they think could happen in Genshin, and it's like a good time. But the only thing that gets focused on for Genshin Twitter is the drama.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous to me.
It's because Twitter as a whole is a very not good website. Well, I can't say as a whole, but a lot of what I've seen from Twitter and experience from it has not really been good things. Not Genshin specifically, but
yeah. I mean, let's be real. Twitter is definitely one of those places that if you end up not being in the best mood, you can end up throwing a tweet up before you even know it that could spark a whole thing, you know?
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. And I will say this, a lot of that drama does end up on Twitter, for sure. No questions that. I feel like Twitter's just like that place where people put their thoughts, just throw their thoughts out, and sometimes the takes are not good, you know? But before they already know what's happening, like, it just starts bubbling and boiling up in Twitter that it just becomes a whole mess. Dumpster fire, if you will. But I will say, it's kind of ridiculous how bad some things have happened. Like, and when I look back through the Genshin drama for the community, it's like, there were times there were people like sending threats and stuff against like voice actors. For what? Because the character wasn't that great? And even, what's his name? Is it Griffin Burns? Child's English VA? He was in the hospital. And people were like, oh, thank you, goodness, good riddance. I hope he dies. I'm like, what has he done that was so bad? I thought we enjoyed his character. You know what I mean? He never said anything.
People are just wild, dude.
It's ridiculous to me. It's like we're out here attacking people that don't deserve it, but we don't say anything. It's just ridiculous to me. And even the one time that we actually did work together, right? Which was the anniversary. We did a pretty good job for the first bit, but then it just got out of hand. With the whole review.
Google Classroom's not at fault?
Dude, that whole thing was a mess. Like, the anniversary revolt it started off well, and then it got out of hand. Like, once the review bombing started, that was okay when it was just Genshin, but then we took it to everything. We took it to apps that had nothing to do with Genshin.
My free multi or the world burns MiHoYo.
Yeah.
It's HoYoverse now. I still call them MiHoYo and everyone corrects me.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to calling them HoYoverse myself. It's taken a bit. But yeah,
it's a really good reason for them doing that. They wanted to try to get a little bit away from China.
Oh yeah. And we can actually talk about that for a bit too. The move to Singapore. Yeah, they moved the headquarters.
Name. It's really a name only.
Yeah.
But they did it so they could get away from China to have less restrictions on what they do.
Yeah. Also, do you know Singapore is like a crazy business hub anyway? Like, it's amazing over there for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Because they like give you like it's ridiculous. Like, they'll hook you up like, oh, you guys want to move your headquarters over here? We'll help you like build it. Like, here's $5 million to help build it. But you know, when your guys are hiring, help hire like 100 or so people from here, you know, locally. That place is crazy. It's amazing for business. So,
Sounds really good.
oh yeah, it's amazing. Also, do you know that those guys are like 90 something percent vaccinated too? It's crazy. And they have like apps that let you go in and out of places only if you're vaccinated.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So that place is like, you guys imagine like those futuristic movies like where everybody is like tagged and kept track of and everything and it looks awesome and there's like no trash on the streets and all that? That's Singapore. I'm not even kidding. That place is insane. It's awesome though. I will say that. But yeah, them moving over there is honestly probably one of the best moves they could have made just on a business level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, staying within China and having the Chinese regulations they have to follow for everything isn't, to me, it isn't going to be the best for them.
No.
Because China's so strict in the way they do things and very, very tradition based. So it was really good for them to get away.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, like, you saw what they had to do with the whole Jean Rosaria because it was apparently a feminist group within China that was upset with them, with like the character designs and everything. And this actually got a lot of people scared about other characters like Yoimiya, Raiden Shogun. Like, oh, are we going to, potentially have them redesigned as well? But now that they've made this move, I don't believe that's going to be the case anymore. I think they're going to be just fine. But we will see. I mean, only time will tell at the end of the day for something like this. That's something I definitely feel. But I will say, the move to HoYoverse, not a bad one. And I hope to see what else they plan to do in the future. Obviously, they're working on Star Rail, but there's talks of other games in development by them as well as a company. So
they made a lot of money off of Genshin Impact. So hopefully.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully they capitalize.
That's for sure. But we'll see. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but it's gonna be interesting seeing how they use these Genshin funds because I know they're not all coming back into the game. That's for sure.
Bro.
But yeah, that's another thing. Like, I saw Tectone, he was talking about this the other day, that sometimes we give HoYoverse too much slack because we still remember them as little bitty old Mahelyo, little indie company basically coming in here, only had like 2 games under their belt. They weren't even like all that crazy. But now, they made like 1.8 billion in a year off of Genshin. It's like, it's time for us to kind of wake up and hold them accountable for some stuff. I don't think he's wrong though. I think it's important to make sure that they are held accountable for certain things, especially like, especially in the terms of content. Like right now, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Characters are content in Genshin. If there's really no new character for you to look forward to or get your hands on, what are you really doing on the day-to-day for Genshin? Log in, do your dailies, and then you log off. And maybe do an event if you're so lucky to have one running at that time. So it's pretty rough. Pretty rough. But I think that's something that's gonna have to change over time. But from the latest survey, people have been telling me, I haven't taken it myself, but people have been telling me that basically we get the chance to bash on them a bit and really let them know how we're feeling about the status of the game. I don't know. Have you been able to take it?
I haven't. I seen it, but honestly, like, I might look at it, but MiHoYo in the past, it just feels like they ignore all the surveys. It just feels like they ignored basically everything we say, so I just stopped. But I'll definitely, I'll look at it.
Yeah. I think I skipped like the last 10 surveys now. All that more, God, man. I really just couldn't care less because I also kind of felt the same way. that are our surveys really getting read? Because I did this for a whole year and nothing really changed, you know? And I'm not saying that everything in my survey should be the thing that changes, you know? I'm not saying that. But from just like all the surveys I've taken and all those questions they've asked, nothing really changes, you know? Maybe we get an occasional quality of life thing, but that was never on the survey to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
So I always sat there and wondered, like, is it really worth it to sit here, take my time and take these surveys and then, you know, see if anything changes? Might not be, but at the same time, we don't get many avenues for us as a player base to voice our concerns, so we should probably take advantage of what we do got. That's just me, personally. Anyway, Valk, you got any topics you want to cover, or you good?
No, I'm good. I just want to. How's everybody enjoying Elden Ring?
This guy bringing up the Elden Ring, even though Elden Ring. Actually, that brings up one more thing I wanted to talk about. I was actually planning on making a video about it, but I decided not to because of the current climate with Ukraine. But I wanted to talk about the term Genshin killers. You know, especially with talks of what's its name, Tower Fantasy now getting basically reconfirmed to go global now. They were canceled, but now they brought it back that they're going to do a global launch. Obviously, 7 Deadly Sins, Origins. Some people were even calling Lost Ark a Genshin killer. No, not Blue Protocol. No, it was Blue Protocol. I was thinking of Blue Archive. Blue Protocol, you know? And sometimes I just sit here and I'm like, every time somebody says Genshin killer, I kind of laugh, you know? Because before, when Genshin started, or when it was starting up, nobody was even worried about this game being huge. Everybody was sitting here like, you know, talking mad mess about it because we were a Breath of the Wild knockoff, you know? And it's just crazy to me that we've reached the point from being a Breath of the Wild knockoff to having people out here declaring games Genshin killers because this game has grown so much that they just want something to, like, you know, knock it down a few notches. So I was just surprised, like, that term Genshin killer is such a readily used term for like almost anything that comes out now. It's ridiculous. Like, even just typical anime RPG games that are nothing like Genshin, they're like Genshin killer.
Yeah, people just, it's not so much that people want Genshin to be defeated or anything like that. People want Genshin to be better.
Yeah.
At least from my experience. That's why I always talk about, like, games that could potentially, you know, make MiHoYo think about what they're doing.
That's true. Yeah, that's what I always say too. I'm like, okay, so we have these Genshin killers, but I don't think anybody actually expects Genshin to die. I think what they want those Genshin killers, quote unquote, to do is take some of the player base and just show HoYoverse, show HoYoverse that you're not the only option anymore. You have competition. It's time to step it up, or you're going to lose a good chunk of your players, you know? Now, is it honestly going to lose a good chunk of its players? Maybe for dead patches, but let's be real. The moment 3.0 drops, a good chunk of us are coming right back. Like, let's not even play. So it's always funny to me, like, everybody's like, oh, I want this Genshin killer. But it's like, you're saying this now, but once 3.0 drops, you're going to be on here with us. So it's always funny to me, the term just getting thrown around like that. And sometimes I feel like it's even lost its true meaning because people will just throw it on anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Like, there was a content creator covering a game that I was actually looking forward to called Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, right? This game's supposed to come out on console and PC. This game is basically like a open world anime game. I'm pretty sure it does have some co-op capabilities, but it also has like a bit of a Monster Hunter-esque design. But, you know, no gacha, anything, nothing like that. It's simply play, enjoy, anime RPG style with some co-op, you know? So it's kind of like Genshin, but at the same time, I wouldn't really put in the same category. You know what I mean? But this content creator is like Genshin killer. This is coming. This is coming for Genshin. It's gonna take it down. You know, this is what we've been waiting for. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't even know if you know what this game is as I'm watching this video, you know? Because I would never connect those two. And even some people in the comments were like, yeah, this and Genshin are totally different things. So it's always funny. I swear, just like seeing the community or people in general, just like specific people promoting these Genshin killers, trying to like, you know, just say like, hey, Genshin finally has competition, you know?
Yeah.
But that's me, man. That's something I feel it's just funny, man. It's just funny every time.
I'm the same way. I always feel it's kind of comical.
Yeah.
Because in the end, nothing's going to kill Genshin. I don't know if people that spout the Genshin killer stuff have, you know, really realized that.
The thing is this, I don't think they think anything's going to kill Genshin either. Because let's be real. Genshin's been around and it's gone through many potential killers, as they've said, you know? I think that what they want to do, though...
something the Fortnite killer.
Yeah. I think what they're really trying to do, though, is just promote this new thing in hopes that Genshin has competition.
That's all I want. I want Genshin to have competition. I don't want Genshin to die. I don't think it's going to die anytime soon anyways.
No, Genshin can't die. There's too many people committed to it.
It's way too big.
Yeah, it's too big. Not to mention, it still brings in new people all the time.
Oh, yeah. What's this free game I have never tried before? Wow, because Genshin, as if you look at it as a standard game you play like 40, 60 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
You look at Genshin like that as a standard game, it's amazing. It's a really good game. The only thing that sucks whenever you're first initially leveling is the resin system, and you learn to hate it. So, but outside of that, Genshin's a really good game.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm objective when I say that.
I mean, it is a good game. And let's be real. Even if they do lose people, they're going to get them right back. Because what happens every year? The new chapter drops. Which means a new region, a bunch of old players are going to come in, a bunch of new players are going to come in because they're going to promote the crap out of it like they did with Inazuma. And they're going to be good again.
So many people started playing because Raiden was getting advertised like crazy.
Exactly. So it's going to be the same thing for these other regions. So I don't think Genshin's at any risk of falling short anytime soon. It's good. It's solid. Anyway, I think that's about it for anything. I want to give like just 10 minutes for any questions, if anybody has any questions, or just chat with the chat real quick, and then that we'll wrap it up. So there was one comment from Socklucard that was funny. So Socklucard said, finally comes in when there's a fire in the community, but it's not the kind he wants to see it. So sitting there like, yeah. I was reading that, I was like, dang, man. That's so true, though. So true.
Community was definitely on fire at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it'll be okay, though. Like you said, it's one of those things, like, we're still in the process of kind of filtering everything out. You know what I mean? Like, bit by bit, we filter out the peeps, or they just mellow out. You know what I mean? The only problem is that as we filter out, Genshin's literally just pulling in more people.
Yeah, Genshin's always pulling in more people.
Yeah. So, Zombie's just asking how life is. It's been good, man. It's been good. Life's been interesting. I will say that. But, you know, having to actually go back in for work hours and everything, that was something I definitely needed to adjust to. So I'm glad I actually took that time off. And that probably wasn't the best move to delete my YouTube channel, but hey, you know, whatever. We don't talk about that. We live and we learn. Well, I mean, there were still mistakes that I made on that channel anyways. But this time I'm gonna make sure to not make those same mistakes and just enjoy it for the experience. That's for sure. And then We also have, actually, you go with the name Teyvat Hangout? I think this is
Sure.
perfect. I like
I'm
it.
cool with it.
Yeah. So, something I want to do with these podcasts, hopefully by next week. What's up, Gmo? Hopefully by next week, we have another content creator to be our special guest. As you can see, there is a third slot. That is where special guests will be. I want to try and bring on a content creator every week, even if they're not a YouTube content creator, be it a Genshin artist or Genshin cosplayer. Shoot, if we even grow enough, maybe even a freaking VA, that'd actually be pretty cool.
I know a lot that would be really down for it. Like Christian Benass is one of them. Thomas VA. Thomas VA is actually really active on Twitch.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get this growing. That's for sure. I definitely want to bring in new peeps, you know? It's going to be fun. Okay, have you guys ever seen the large number of Genshin reaction videos? They are definitely new players, yeah. Oh, yeah. I swear, like, every week there's always a new Genshin player reacts to all the Genshin videos. Like, there's always one on YouTube, like, every week, I swear. And it always, like, does really well, you know? But it's awesome because those people, like, come on to YouTube, you know, react to all the Genshin videos because they're new. And then you have a bunch of other people that watch this and like, oh, snap, this is actually pretty cool. And they seem to like it. Maybe I should jump in too. So it's crazy. But yeah, as more content is made and advertised about Genshin, it's going to keep reaching out to people. Also, let's just be real. Anime is becoming way more popular than it's ever been in the past because it's starting to become a lot more normalized in society.
It's incredibly mainstream now.
Yeah.
I was playing, I played one game with a bunch of older people, like 40 years old, 50 years old, stuff like that. And that's right, kids. Boomers play video games. And they were talking to me about Attack on Titan. I was like, huh?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, anime is very mainstream now.
Oh, yeah, it's super mainstream, man. It's super mainstream. It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. First time reacting to Genshin, Pog face in the thumbnail. Exactly. It's like, what? Sometimes I swear, are they even really new to Genshin, or is it that they just like nobody's ever seen them react to it, so they're like, oh, let me take this opportunity to get a really nice video out.
Yeah, just never upload a Genshin video, but
yeah, it's like,
make
oh,
one of those real quick.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, oh yeah, new player to Genshin. It's like, were you really new? Have you? I'm pretty sure you've been playing since the start. It's like, nah, you just never made a video on it. No, it's still a good time for everybody because those reactions are actually really funny. Because some of them are actually legitimately new, and it's always fun to watch. That's for sure. Not to mention, you get to basically watch along and get to watch all the demos if you've never watched them all. So it's kind of a 2-for-1.
Demos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the demos
like
are definitely
watching
fun.
videos, so
Mhm.
I'll watch.
Yeah. And then, oh, there's one more thing I plan to do. I already told you about this, Valk. I want to do a top 30 list for the characters. It's not going to be just me and you, though. I plan to bring on, like, at least 2 or 3 other content creators. And we sit here and we compare our top 30 lists. Probably agree with some other options, you know, some people's list, while also disagreeing with others. It's a whole thing. I'll explain it more to you in detail, but that's something I definitely want to do, especially before patch 3.0 with the current roster that we have. And then I kind of want to see if we can keep that going every year to see how that top 30 changes for before each major, you know, chapter patch. I feel like it'll actually be really interesting. Not to mention, it'll just be fun because then we can have chat vote on the worst list.
Yeah, it'll definitely be unique because I don't know who does a top 30.
Nobody.
It's kind of crazy.
Exactly. Nobody does a top 30. Everybody does a tier list, but we're actually going to order them like 30 to 1. It's going to be good. He doesn't like the idea either, Sock. Let me tell you. when I told him about this, he's like, "You're only getting 10 from me." I'm like, "Nah, man, it has to be 30." But
I
yeah,
can name 10, but I can't even. Like, I
oh,
honestly.
you'll
can't
have
even
time
name
for 30.
Genshin Impact
You'll have time.
characters.
I've already let I've already let 2 of the other ones I need know, and then I still have to decide on the last person. But I'll be seeing. But yeah, it's gonna be real fun. We're gonna all get in a voice chat. We're gonna have to be here for like 1 hour or 2, just discussing our top 30s. Oh man. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. But anyway, I want to thank those of you who did show up for the first, official back of, I guess, just the first official actually, because we never even had a name for it to begin with. So the first official Teyvat Hangout. This is podcast number 1. This will be on YouTube after I trim off the rest of, the beginning for, copyright reasons. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. We will be doing this again next week, Saturday. I will hopefully announce the time beforehand so that you guys can plan for it. And other than that,
have a heads up on the time.
Oh yeah, we'll have a heads up on the time. And then other than that, though, I hope to keep doing this every week, and we hope to bring in a guest star every week when possible. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys later. Valk, you got anything to say?
Nope.
All right,
Hopefully
y'all.
You guys, have a good one.
All right, you guys take it easy, and also remember Latom. All right.